There we
So how
go.
you
Yeah,
been, man?
I have been all right. I've been sucked into the world of Tron. Like, just in case you don't know what the backdrop is, it's the world
Oh,
of
gotcha, man.
Tron.
Gotcha. Well,
Kind of
that's
lit.
interesting because the world of Tron is video games, and then I've got my Lancers up behind me, so we're keeping the theme.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
That is pretty
Oh,
amazing. Oh, doggy coming down the stairs.
oh yeah, hobbling down.
Oh
He's
no.
quite ancient. Yeah.
How are things? Are things okay in the Foutz household?
Yeah, man. There are certain days where I'm so busy, I kind of feel like Spider-Man web slinging through Manhattan, going from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. So that's been today. So every time I could fit something else in, I did. If something was rendering, then I did voiceover. And so anyway, all with the goal of being here at 4 o'clock, which I missed by 10 minutes. So
We'll just blame it on time zones. I know that's not how time zones work, but they can work.
Right.
They can work that way. It's fine.
Which, by the way, man, I really like what you're doing on YouTube. Those people who haven't discovered it, they need to discover it, man.
Well, I still put the full shows out in their entirety. But then I thought, well, there's nice little topics that are buried within, and not everybody watches full shows on YouTube. So I'm like, I'm going to start mining some of these podcasts. I've still got a few of ours to go through, and see if we've got some. But it's interesting because people can spare 10 minutes and stuff. But
well, that, and then they want more.
I hope so. It's like heroin thing. So what we've got tonight is obviously a full-length conversation for those listening on audio and watching on YouTube, but I'm also going to fire a bunch of mini topics at you just so we can chat about it. Doesn't matter how many of them we get through. I don't really care. I just like talking to you. So
okay, sounds good, man. And I actually made notes, so that'll probably help a wee bit. Maybe, I don't know.
I'm gonna start you off easy, I think.
Okay.
Who is the best superhero male? So there will be another question. So there'll be a separate video for those, but it should be female. But who's the best? My brain instantly went to, well, it's either Batman or Superman for me. And,
and that's, I mean, there are a lot of fun superheroes, but I think even though Spider-Man was a part of the trio that I grew up with, Spider-Man, Batman, and Superman, I still think Batman is probably my favorite because he is human and he relies on his brain and his, depending on what you're watching, whether it's the Nolan series where Fox is the one who helps him to, make all the cool stuff, or whether it's the original person in the Batcave, which was a mute, deaf hunchback, I think. I can't remember off the.
Was it really?
Yeah. That was when the Batcave had tons of memorabilia. It almost looks like this, except it's like a life-size T-Rex and all this stuff. So, but I mean, regardless of where Batman gets all his cool gadgets, I think Batman's probably my favorite. That, and two, his motives are pretty pure. I mean, he doesn't want anybody to go through what he went through. He's scarred by his childhood, versus Superman. Man, he was raised right, and I appreciate that. But Superman's gone bad on more than one occasion, and I don't think Batman ever has. So.
Superman 3 flicking peanuts at a mirror, that was pretty much that was pure evil. That poor bar owner had probably worked all his life to get that bar. And there's Superman flicking peanuts and smashing bottles, and profit margins gone right out the window. What always fascinated me with Superman 3 when he went bad is his suit changed color. And they're like, how does that work? I don't know.
It was an odd one. Did it just go gray?
It looked to go sort of like it needed a really good wash. It didn't look vibrant. I love Superman 3. I think it's great.
Was that the Richard
4
Pryor
not
one?
so much. That was the rather dubious Richard Pryor. But when that came out of the cinema over here, they had warning stickers on the ticket booth. This film is scary for children, because obviously the robot thing at the end comes out and she's like going crazy. But I remember the warning. I'm like, how scary is a Superman film going to be? It wasn't that scary. I'd seen stuff, but
man, compared to today, what's on just like I say regular TV, I realize that over where you are, everything is the regular TV unless you stream it. So, yeah.
But you got me thinking. Spider-Man. Spider-Man was the first superhero I saw because it was the Nicholas Hammond TV show.
Wow, man!
70s, and I used to watch that, and that would obviously it was before Superman the movie, and I'd seen some episodes of the Batman TV show. Right. I can't remember, but I think my memory serves me that it was the Nicholas Hammond Spider-Man. It would have been the first superhero. So.
Yeah, probably for me it would have been the Hulk, the Incredible Hulk.
Oh God, yeah.
Bill Bixby,
David
Lonely
Banner,
man walking, right?
Yep.
And so, are you looking forward to the new Superman movie?
I am.
Yeah.
I feel a bit left out though because I've not gone absolutely crazy and had a mental breakdown looking at that one still that was put out and dissected how the costume looks. Or my favorite one is, oh my God, look, that's such a feminine pose that he's got there. It's like he's putting a boot on. It's a still image. People have got way too much time on their hands to dissect a single still image.
They really do. And so is that a negative or a positive that he puts his boots on like a girl?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how many ways there are to put boots on. You generally put one on first and then the other one.
Yeah. The only time I put my boots on oddly was when I sliced my thumb open and I had it wrapped up and it was sutured, not stitches. But I mean, like I was trying my best not to split that back open. So I'm not sure what the internet would have voted on the way I was putting on my boots with, because it was thumbless. I was trying to put them on like a T-Rex, So
they would have had an opinion though. That is a guaranteed thing. But no, I'm looking forward to it. Somebody put in the comments going, I don't like the suit, bring back the original one. So I went onto Google, came back and went, what, the one from 1948? Right. That was the first on-screen appearance of Superman. So I didn't know off by heart, but apparently that's the original. Who cares what the suit looks like? I mean, you can either go, I like it, or I don't like it. But
what would be funny? Go ahead.
Yeah, to delve into that much rage about how a suit looks on a film that's coming out in like a year and a half.
Yeah. Well, but in the original Frankenstein movie, and I guess there was a lot of movies back then, if they had blood, it was actually black. And because it was in black and white and red didn't show up right. So it would be very funny if their impression was the first, which would be in black and white. And because of the contrast needed, it was actually neon pink and maybe whatever color. I mean, like it was and not Superman. So what are, these legalists, man. I did, the only thought I had when I saw the picture of whatever the actor's name is putting on his boots was he looks a lot like Henry Cavill, like a young Henry Cavill. And so anyway, man, whatever James Gunn has cooking, I will go and see it. I'll support it. I'm looking forward to it. So
same. I like David Cornsweet, by the way, is the guy's name.
Oh really?
So when his name was announced, people were like, really? He's called Cornsweet? It's like, yes, because that's his name.
No,
really, you're having a go at him because of his name.
That's like Pocahontas and John Smith, and he was like, what was it? His comment was Pocahontas. What a funny name. He was like, John Smith. What a funny name. So,
exactly. It's like, it's my name.
Yep.
So I think Batman. I'm going Batman. Who is your favorite Batman? Keaton, I'm guessing. I think you might have indicated that or not.
Wow, man. There's been so many good Batmans. Dude, Affleck has the chin for sure, man. I mean, and I didn't mind, like they were calling him anyway, they made fun of him not being a lean Batman. But there was, I can't remember the artist's name, but they did a Batman series where he was just huge and hulking, So I didn't care, man. I mean, show me sorry, my dog's gonna.
Your dog has got an opinion.
When he breathes too much at this age, then sometimes he starts coughing. So, and then he goes upstairs because he's embarrassed. He's like, "Oh my gosh, this is the podcast viewed by millions. How could I? I'm
fine.
my master."
It's fine.
But I don't know that I really have a favorite. I mean, like, I there's something to be liked about every Batman, even the old TV show. As silly as that was, and because, dude, I mean, like, I grew up with that Batman when I was a kid, and it kind of matched what I was reading in some of the comics. I mean, Biff Bam Boom and all that. So I don't know, man. That's a very good question. I don't know that I have an answer for that.
And
of course, Kevin Conroy too, as the voice of Batman. So he was
for the animated. So I haven't seen too much of the animated stuff, to be honest. I think I saw Mask of the Phantasm, but other than that, I haven't seen. Well, I'm not a huge animation fan, so therefore, kind of.
DC for the longest time, that was always better than their live action. I mean, their live action was hit or miss, but their animation movies were always spot on.
So my next one, and this I'm dedicating this little section to Neil Johnson.
Yeah.
Has Star Wars, Star Trek, and IP science fiction ruined it for indie sci-fi films? Because every time I see an independent or a non-IP, because I'm going to include Rebel Moon in this, so a non-IP science fiction film, the internet just buries it, or they don't go watch it, like The Creator. Nobody went to see it. That's a great film. Rebel Moon. It's terrible. It's just like Star Wars. Why is that a bad thing? Oh, do you like Star Wars? Yes. What's the problem? And I've watched Starship Rising, which Neil has put on his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And then he is also putting on the follow-up to that, Starship Apocalypse. So they're like continuing films with each other. And you read some of the comments, and they're like, I don't understand this film, and the uniforms are too complex. That's one of my favorite ones. Apparently, the uniforms are too deep. How that takes away from the enjoyment of a film. But I think we've got so used to, we know the rules of Star Wars. We know the rules of Star Trek. So anything outside of that, we're like, I don't quite, who are they? What's going on? What's that? Yeah. How can they travel so fast? I don't quite understand it. And I think viewers are a bit messed up by it all.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me if it's got a good story. Like, The Creator was phenomenal. I really enjoyed that. And Rebel Moon 1 and 2, and I hope they continue. I mean, because obviously at the end of the second movie, it kind of makes you think that they're going to continue it. They still have more missions to do. And I mean, you look at Firefly, Serenity, and that was unique and fun, and it was kind of a space western, but there were certain Star Warsy facets to it. So I mean, like, I see that they are not in a connected universe, because Star Trek and Star Wars, two totally different beasts. But man, you look at Mass Effect, that was cool. I mean, that's a video game. I think they did a movie, an animated movie. I can't remember. I never saw it. But it doesn't hurt, man. I love sci-fi. So anything that doesn't suck is good. I don't really base it on what I've seen in Star Wars. And that's the same with The Bad Batch and the new, what is it? Tales of the Empire, the new Disney animated show. Still Dave Filoni, which I've got to, I mean, like, man, the day that he drops the bomb or ball or whatever that saying is, it's been so long since I've used it, but the day he fails me as a Star Wars content creator, man, that's going to be a sad day. That'll probably be a bourbon afternoon. You know what I mean?
No.
Because he has really taken up the reins, he and Jon Favreau, and he elevated Star Wars back to when George Lucas was there. And I heard a rumor that George Lucas is coming back.
No, I don't think so. I don't think they can give George like $4 billion or whatever, and then he'll be like, actually, I'm coming back again. It's like, then we want our $4 billion back. Because you would, wouldn't you? It's like, I don't know, no, you sold it. You sold all these rights. Unless they bring him back in as some sort of consultant or something. But
Dude, anything
I don't know.
would be good. I don't know. I mean, we've discussed the Kathleen Kennedy thing where, she says, well, we don't care about the old Star Wars. We're going to create a new Star Wars universe. And if you want to do that, then why don't you do like Zack Snyder and have your version of Rebel Moon? Which, going back to Rebel Moon, I mean, yeah, there were. I mean, it was also like Seven Samurai. Also like, the Magnificent Seven. And we didn't have lightsabers. We had these really cool blades that were superheated in, robot hands. So I mean, there was just a bunch of cool stuff. It looked. I think the trailer made it look more like, oh, well, this is gonna be Star Wars ripoff because it's got lightsabers. No, it doesn't.
No.
And it had a cool story, man. And it didn't. They didn't mind killing off some main characters because, just like in the Magnificent Seven, they died for a worthy cause. These were the unworthy made worthy by their sacrifice. So
I watched both Rebel Moons over the weekend. I'd not seen either of them before. I'd been waiting until the second one was out before I watched the first one. And I loved it. I didn't see. A lot of people said, "Oh, I like the first one. The second one was terrible." I didn't notice any difference. They were like one film that just got chopped in half. Really, that was. So I'm not like, oh, the first one was good, the second one's bad. Second one, more the action stuff was insane. It was great.
Oh yeah, which I like. When Zack Snyder was interviewed, it was like tech questions from the internet, and somebody said, "Why do you have to do so much in slow motion?" And he said, "Because it's effing cool." And then he explained that when it's in slow motion, you get to see more as what's going versus the herky jerky, kind of stuff that we've had and I've enjoyed. But yeah, I agree, man. It is cool. But it was just funny that some people, it's just like the comment on Neil's movie where it's like, the suits were too complicated. What were they supposed to be playing? Was everybody supposed to be wearing spandex?
Suits are too complicated. The other one I saw was, this is just like an 80s film, but made more recent. See, I don't even know whether that's an insult. Because to me, I'd be like, it's like an 80s film. I'm going to watch that. And I would. And it kind of was. It reminded me of Starship Rising. The first one reminded me of a lot of, like Saturn 3 and a lot of Babylon 5 type stuff, but without the CG. He uses more practical stuff. I had a blast. It's 87 minutes for the first one, 83 minutes for the second one. It's not going to fill up your whole week.
Right.
Just it'll fill up like, one Zack Snyder movie, really, running time wise.
Right.
Just like, and then I saw somebody replying to a comment going, "Brilliant, thanks you saved me from watching it."
Oh,
mate, I hate that. It really annoys me. That's like, make your own mind up, for the love of God.
That was the comment left on the movie. Thanks, you kept me from watching it.
Yeah, because somebody
commented on a comment.
Yeah, somebody left a negative comment.
I got you.
And then somebody went, "Brilliant, you just saved me some time."
Dude, it's just haters. I mean, that's why George Lucas quit. I mean, it was just like, there's too many haters. I used to enjoy this, and now I don't. And I think that happens to a lot of, content creators where they just get slammed and beat up. And so, they're not hearing the love. They are hearing the hate, and why endure it?
But going back to the slow-mo of Zack Snyder, it's like maybe when you shoot stuff, be it still photography or be it video, I know I do. I have certain things that I like, certain stylistic choices. I love black and white stuff. So whenever I do photography, I always shoot in color, but I will usually turn it black and white and go, it kind of looks a bit cooler. Yeah. We all love stylistic choice. J.J. Abrams does lens flare. Zack Snyder does some slow-mo.
Right, yeah.
Well, why is it everything's in slow motion? It wasn't. There was a fair bit of slow-mo, but to read some of the comments, you'd think the whole film was in slow motion. Really was.
Yeah. Well, I think the music was very consistent. I think if I've ever, I don't even want to say taken offense to Zack Snyder's slow-mo, but I mean, when the one time I did go, wow, okay, again, I think it was it in the Batman versus Superman, and didn't Wonder Woman show up in the very end?
Yeah.
After they said, Martha. Oh, my mom's Martha. Martha. Oh, you know, they had that bonding moment.
Yeah.
And then they.
I like that moment as well. I do.
I need to watch it again, man. Because I wasn't. I mean, like, I was not used to. I didn't understand exactly why we needed that movie. I do see a purpose in it now, and I realize that wasn't the first time that Batman had said, "All right, I'm going to take Superman down." But anyway, so there was at one point where they're fighting whoever, you know, the bad guy was in that movie, and then along comes Wonder Woman. So it wasn't just the slow mo and the dramatic. It was also that Mad Max theme song.
Oh,
you know? And so
I love that. Yep.
I was just like, wait a minute. Okay. It was just too jarring for me. And if I watched it again, maybe I'd like it more. But first time viewing, sometimes that's just tough. You're not expecting that. And you don't think that's the wisest choice, but it's not your movie. I mean,
No.
you know, so
it's like if you want to do something different, pony up the money and go make your own film. I guarantee half these internet clowns wouldn't even trust me. I'm trying to put together my short film from years ago. It ain't easy, and it's not fun. it's like, oh, God.
Yep. And you look at some, I think, great filmmakers like David Ayer, and after the Harley Quinn thing that he did, what was it? The first
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, when they decided, okay, we're going to take what you did and then it needs to be a comedy so it can compete with Deadpool. But that's not what I made. Oh, we don't care because we're the executives and we hold the purse strings. So doink, just like Superman thumping the peanut, he was out, man. And he said that really crushed him because he had won, what was was it Fury? The one about the tank?
Yeah, that's good.
Won all sorts of awards and stuff. And I know you didn't like The Beekeeper.
Because it sucks. That's why.
But I was glad to see that he came back, man.
Yeah.
Because some people don't. And I saw an interview with John Bernthal interviewing David Ayer. It's called Real Ones. And I don't know, it's an hour and a half, 2 hours long. But I mean, hearing him talk about what happened to him, you feel bad, man. But I mean, that's how fast these things can flip on you. So
I mean, I'm not like, I didn't like The Beekeeper, but I'm not like, oh, who made that new film that's coming out? Oh, David Ayer? No, I've skipped that.
Right.
I like David Ayer. He's done more films that have impressed me than ones that haven't.
Right.
I think he's only done one that hasn't. I mean, End of Watch is fantastic. If you've not seen that one, Gyllenhaal as the uniform cop. That's really good. Yeah. So it's a good filmmaker.
Yeah.
But so I spent probably about an hour this evening reading through the comments that have been left on Neil's film, Starship Rising. It's just like, Jesus. The thing is, they're still watching the film, so good for Neil because it's on YouTube, it's free, he's up-resed it to 4K, so it's quite nice. But the comments are insane. So he's launching the second film on Sunday, like whatever. In a couple of days. By the time this video goes up, it'll be tagged on to the end of this video. So you can make your own mind up. That's what I say.
But I mean, it's the thing with Neil is he is such an immaculate filmmaker, and people don't appreciate number one, I don't think people appreciate the effort to finish a movie, regardless of, the plot holes or, that there's, 15 minutes at the end that are just bloopers. Gorilla and
I like this.
But I mean, he tells a story and he is so, I mean, like, if there is one person that punishes him the most, it's himself. I mean, like, oh no, I've got to do this better, I've got to go back and refine. And I mean, it's like the Time War. I think by the time we're 70, maybe we'll see it.
Yeah, I think you're being a bit optimistic there, John. But let's go for that. But I told Neil that I was watching because I have the DVDs of Starship Rising and Starship Apocalypse. So I've had these for years. When he came out, I picked them up, and I've not seen the films for years. So I told him I was going to watch them both. I was going to watch first one, watch second one back to back, and he's like, "Let me know when you've done it because I want your opinion on what you think." And I'm like, "Why do you give a shit about my opinion? What am I?" I'm just like a film geek that watches movies. I happen to know Neil, but it's like I'm not an authority on movies. And sure enough, I'd watched the films, and I messaged him and said I watched them now. He phoned me up. He's like, what do you think? And he went into a little bit of the backstory about the second one, about how it was rushed because the production or the distributor or whatever were like, we need it quicker. And he had less time. And he's like, how does it stand up? Follow. And we had a good old chat about how it stood up. I'm like, why do you care about my opinion? Just like, Neil, you've got my money. I bought the DVDs in like 2013 or whatever. It's fine. Don't worry about it. The next one I buy will be a hologram, and it'll be the Time Warp. So there will be no more physical media.
Right. But it is different when you pop in a DVD and you watch it on a smaller screen versus having it in 4K, and you're watching something that you can see a lot more detail. I mean, I remember when we took Dirt Cheap Therapy, and it was showing on a huge screen. Like, I mean, it was a legit theater. And I was like, oh my God, dude. I mean, like, this is a huge screen and it's got surround sound. So I was just hoping I did everything, up to the standard and everybody enjoyed it. But yeah, man, there is some apprehension, when you're unveiling something and you don't know how it's going to be received. So, because it is a gift. I mean, it's like if I made some dish that you don't like, but yet I didn't know that you didn't like it, and I made that casserole or whatever, you would still appreciate the fact that I spent an hour making it, and probably try it. I don't know, but
no, of course I would. Yeah. But yeah, no, I would. Anybody who's not seen Starship Rising, check it out on YouTube because it does look better than the DVD because it's done, a bit of tweaking and stuff. So I enjoyed it. Good. So watch it.
Good. Hey, so did you mean to skip who is my favorite female superhero? Or
no,
are we coming back to that?
I can edit that shit. I'm Pulp Fiction this conversation.
Yeah.
So just do it all. I totally forgot.
Hey, wait! Here comes Bruce Willis after he died. Yay!
I guess that means I'm secretly a misogynist because I just ignored the female superheroes. Who is your?
That was your trick question. It's like, who's your favorite male superhero? And then let's talk sci-fi. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, I totally forgot. Or the joys of editing. So the people on the audio version will be like, yeah, busted. But, on YouTube, nobody will ever know.
Right.
It's tricky to stay on, here's my list of questions. Yeah. That's why I never do it when I'm interviewing somebody. I never have a list of questions because conversations don't work that way, do they?
Right. You need to have the kind of glasses where there's the readout in there, right? And so that it's like a teleprompter on your lens. Yep. I always thought that would be cool to have for the I'm not the Foley guy, but the guy running boom, just so that he could always see exactly what I was seeing, so that he would not get in the frame. Because too often, I'd be like going, man, he crept in the frame. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. So if I just created those glasses.
I will make myself look like an absolute idiot. I'm okay with that. Over the past few days, I've been mining the Mimi footage, my short film stuff, go, do you know what, I need to turn it into something because I want it off my desk and out the window and just be done with it type thing. And I was assembling a work print, and it's totally different than the way it originally was going to be. And at one point I'm filming and you can hear me go, and I do a panning shot of really smart arse. I'm a genius. I can do a full sort of move around that and my feet are in the shot. But you hear me going, I think my feet might be in the shot. Oh, no, they're fine. They're not. You can see like half my foot in the shot. So it's like, what? I clearly wasn't looking through the viewfinder.
Right.
So that hit the cutting room floor.
I hear you, man. Was there? Great. Could you zoom in? I mean,
no, I managed to cut round it. I've cut down something like 90 minutes to 17 at the minute, so it may end up being a short film. So, John, I have a question for you.
Ask it, man.
Who's your favorite female superhero?
Man, I mean,
that's trickier than the male one, I think, for me.
It really is. I mean, like, if you look around my office, there is only one female superhero in a frame, and that is Wonder Woman. And I had another, and I actually gave it to a girl who, this is when I worked for a studio over in Charlotte, and she had taken a job in Colorado, and I felt like she had grown as a person. And so I don't even remember what I wrote on the back of the frame, but I gave that to her just because I think Wonder Woman is an inspirational figurehead for she's like the female Superman. I mean, as far as if there is a Girl Scout, but I mean, it's funny. We think Boy Scout and we think Superman, but Girl Scouts, man, they're like screaming at the corner, ringing your doorbell, buy my cookies. So, totally different kind of thing. But I guess it would be Wonder Woman. There's some other fun female characters, but are they my favorite? Are they on my walls? I don't know. No.
I think my first female superhero that I saw would be Linda Carter as Wonder Woman. I think.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try, and you'll have to be the judge whether I can get away with this or not. But can I put Ursa from Superman and Superman 2? I know she's a villain, but I think she thinks she's a hero. She's trying to liberate human beings from their lives. And stop them from feeling miserable and breathing and stuff. But I may try and make an argument for that one.
It works for me. I mean, yeah.
Or if I'm not allowed Ursa, then Helen Slater as Supergirl.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like 13 watching her on screen. I'm like, this is the best film ever. It's amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I like it. I like Supergirl.
Yep, I had a crush on her when I saw I was trying to think, wasn't she in The Legend of Billie Jean before?
I love no, it was after.
But I mean, both movies, man. I just thought Helen Slater was extremely cute. So.
And then Secret of My Success with Michael J. Fox, she was in as well.
Really? I don't even remember her being in there.
Yeah, she was the sort of the love interest, not the one who was Michael J. Fox's aunt, which that's kind of creepy watching that part now. But hi, you're my nephew. Sleep with me. I don't know if you're allowed to do that. I don't know if you're allowed to do it then. You're certainly not allowed to do it now.
Back then they got away with a lot. I don't think they really had filters back then, or people reading through the script going, "Oh, this will get you canceled," because canceled wasn't a thing,
No,
they were it's like being up in Mount Olympus, and it's like no arrows are gonna reach you. It's all good, right? But now everybody's vulnerable.
I introduced Annette to the first 2 American Pie movies last week. She'd never seen them.
Oh my god! Dude.
And watching those, she loved them. She was laughing her head off. But they are very problematic if you watch them through cancel culture eyes. You're like, for the love of God, no.
Yeah.
And they were only 20 years ago, or just over.
Wow, man.
Jeez. 1999 was the first one.
Wow. It just doesn't, they needed to give the pie theme a rest when eventually, what was it in the third one where he found super glue or something? I can't remember.
That was the second one.
Oh, was it the second one?
Yeah, he got the lube mixed up with super glue. Yeah. So I'm going to be watching the third one with her at some point this weekend. She just I thought she'd seen them, and I'd mentioned I've never watched them. I'm like, what? I need to get these films now. So I dug them out, and we sat and watched number 1, then number 2, and then we'll watch American Wedding and then American Reunion. I'm not going to watch all the other ones, all like the straight to DVD ones, just the main American Pie films, I think. Because we'd watched like Porky's the week or so before. She'd never seen that. She liked that, but she prefers the American Pie movies. So
I don't know, man. Porky's was such a part of my childhood. Not childhood. I mean, I was in high school, of course, but yeah, man, that was just such an odd movie that I'll never forget seeing that in the movie theater.
Oh,
so
God.
Kim Cattrall in the dirty socks.
Lassie. Amazing. One of the funniest scenes ever.
Yeah.
So you said you've been making some notes. What notes have you made?
Oh, let's see here. One oddball comment that I was going to make. My dad and I walk a few times a week. He needs to because he's, I don't know, upper 70s, early 80s. I can't remember my dad's age. But anyway, and so walking helps him be a little steadier because he kind of walks like a sidewinder. Maybe that's an American term because you don't have deserts and westerns. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. But I mean, anyway, but he made the comment, everybody needs a job that has security. And it was such a boom. And I was like, dude, I mean, like, we are all one EMP away from the Stone Age. So, I mean, you better be doing something that you enjoy, that there is, and I mean, we all need money, but if we're not doing what we enjoy, then I don't know, man. I think we're missing out on something that's important, something that tickles our soul. So yeah, man, I meant to bring that up earlier because as you and I do on occasion, we want to encourage people to follow their dreams. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It doesn't matter when you put it on YouTube and somebody says, man, those costumes,
too complex, too complicated clothing ruined the movie for me.
But I mean, do your vision to the best of your ability. Shoot it with an iPhone. I mean, I applaud anyone who says yes and moves forward, and you never know what's going to happen. Somebody could, Spielberg could be, having a sleepless night and he's on YouTube and says, wow, this is amazing. I'd like to see this done with a $10 million budget. Not that he can even get $10 million budgets these days. It's kind of crazy.
Nobody can they? Remind me about Francis Ford Coppola in a minute when we finish the walking thing. But it's like, I kind of get where your dad's coming from with the security thing, because it makes sense. It perfectly makes sense. Secure job, steady income, buy a house, picket fence, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. But I think if everybody followed that, there would be no musicians, there would be no authors, there would be no filmmakers, because you're like, all those industries, as you know, and as I know the people I speak to, they're not sitting, on big piles of money going, wait, I'm making a fortune doing this filming stuff. It's amazing. So we wouldn't have any of that. And I think a world without those sort of types of art, without music and whatnot, would just be really miserable.
Yeah. Because you think about what, Apple in particular has given so many artists the ability to have a very powerful computer, either to record music or record video and edit. And we can make fun of iMovie, but I mean, that was what opened my eyes to the potential of digital editing. I know Neil, knew about digital editing and helped kind of channel that way back in the day. But I mean, I just didn't believe it could do what everybody was promising, and I was surprised. But I mean, it's it gives people the opportunity to express themselves, and I think that's important. I think when you feel misunderstood, you get louder and louder. I'm talking arguments between people, but if you can share through some sort of art, and that includes painting and all sorts of stuff, man, whatever kind of art you feel like creating, if you can share your view of the world, then maybe somebody else will get it and go, wow, I see why we should not, or I see why we should. So anyway, in the meantime, my dog is shredding this little stuffed bunny, which is a dog toy, but at the throat, man, split it wide open, stuffing everywhere. So
your dog shall now be known as the canine Glenn Close.
That's right.
Yeah. So now it is interesting. I get where he's coming from with the steady job, but but
I don't know that really happens that much these days. Things have changed.
What is steady? The company I used to work for that I left 11 months ago. Yeah. The entire night shift got made redundant a few months back. They're like, oh, by the way, you're all out in 4 years. So I would have been gone anyway. But there are, I don't know, are there any stable jobs anymore?
I don't know, man. And you look at what AI is doing, both the positive and the negative. But I mean, I called Amazon because I ordered this collector's edition Nerf rifle. That's the Mandalorian rifle, right? And it was supposed to come with 10 darts, and it didn't have 10 darts. So I had to go through the AI gatekeeper. It was like, John, how can I help you? And I'm just like, give me a human, but I can help you. No, you can't, man. Shut up and give me a human. Yep. So 5 minutes later, I got a human that didn't speak great English, but she helped a lot. So
yeah. Did it all get resolved? Did you get your darts, or did they refund something back for you?
I just said they were going to give me all my money back, and I was like, no, I would feel bad getting a free rifle. Just give me a percentage back. I mean, a discount. And so they did. So yeah, I was happy, but it just, there's so many people that rely on those jobs where they answer the phone and, hey, how can I help you? And they try to
Mhm.
resolve your issue. And I don't know. I mean, maybe in the next year or two, those jobs will be gone. I'm watching. You ever see a YouTube show called The Y Files?
No.
Check it out sometime. It's just fun. It's a bunch of like the Black Pyramid under Alaska. You know what I mean?
Ooh, okay.
It's just yeah, man, cool stuff. But anyway, all their reenactments are now AI, including the animated stuff where you have the people walking down the hallway and they're just kind of almost moonwalking and their feet are morphing and they're putting their hand up and it goes from 6 to 7 to 5 fingers back and forth, but it's cheap. I mean, like it's an economical way to get those, the black site, the military sites and stuff. And, but as a friend of mine said, who is into content creation, he was like, man, I'm going to be useless in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
And I don't think so, but that's just my opinion. I think we'll still be valid because at some point people will want non-synthetic goods, for lack of a better term. And maybe we need to come up with a good term for that. But I mean, human created content. I think that's important and imperative. So
I mean, I know Rob, who I record with sometimes, he loves AI. He thinks it's great. He thinks it saves us. And I'm like, I'm not a fan. I get that there's probably positive uses for it, but I'd rather know how to make something and how to fix it if it breaks, rather than just going, oh, these podcasts are all automated by AI. I want to know how to cut something out and insert, change music. And I think the more people start doing automated stuff, the less your brain works, which is partly the reason I got out of my job that I was doing, because it was just all cut and pasting templates to customers. And I could feel myself getting stupider and stupider. And it's like, no. So it's insane. But yeah, getting back to Francis Ford Coppola, have you watched the little teaser trailer for Megapolis that he's done?
No, I don't think so.
His new film, he's paid for it out of his own pocket. Not the trailer, the film, because nobody would finance him. And this is a passion project that he's been trying to do for decades. And finally, it's coming out. It shows at Cannes this month. We know what Cannes are going to say. They're going to boo it and say it sucks because, that sort of thing. But check out the teaser trailer. It looks doesn't show a lot because it's a teaser trailer. I don't know what the film's about, but it's all weird time bending, time stop, and that's odd. It's very odd, but I'm intrigued.
Man, I'll check it out.
Movie. Yeah. So next one for you. Ooh.
Yeah.
Props from movies that you own or you want to. And this got me thinking, it's like, what movies are there where I would love to have props from? And I sort of, my brain leaned towards bullet casings. So it's like, how cool would it be on a shelf? You've got a little shelf there, and it's like, that bullet casing's from John Wick 4. That bullet casing's from Rambo First Blood Part 2. That bullet casing's from Commando with Schwarzenegger one. I'm like, I'd quite like to have bullet casings. It's kind of a weird prop. I don't know if people sell them. I know they used to, because I remember years ago I saw in the back of a magazine, it was $90 you could buy this thing for, and you could buy a used bullet casing from Rambo 3.
Wow, man. I never thought of that. So you're talking screen used. And I mean, that's hard to prove because it's like that blurry bit of brass ejecting out the side. But yeah, man. Wow, that's cool. Because, my brain goes in two directions when you ask that question. One side is, if I could have something from a movie that actually worked, it would be a lightsaber so that I could just walk cavalierly by my shrubbery and prune it,
I was doing that today with shears and it's deadly.
Dude, it takes forever. I mean, like, I've got one that's battery powered and but I mean it's heavy because it's battery powered and which I guess is a good workout, but I mean it just takes so long, and then there's cleanup. I mean, in my head I'm kind of thinking the lightsaber would not only cut, but then if it falls back into the blade, it just kind of it doesn't exist anymore, so there's less cleanup. But man, as far as screen use, the one thing that I have wanted ever since 2014 was Star-Lord's blaster. And I've got 2 that I created, but they're not the real deal, man. And I was not about to pay prop house prices for one. Yeah. So
I get the emails through from Prop Store, and I'm like, let me just look on the website. Oh, that how much? And I would love it.
Yeah.
But it was just like, I can't afford that. Just really can't.
Yeah.
But there is that. I think because this sort of sparked into my head because Richard Stanley, who did Island of Dr. Moreau, he's one of my Facebook friends, and he was selling the mask that he wore when he snuck back on the set. And I'm like, that would be such a cool what's that in that glass case? That is the mask. Tell me that story. Well, he was on the film and he got fired, and Marlon Brando was in it, and then he snuck back on, and you're like, ultimate talking point. And I don't know how much it went for, but I'm sure it went for quite a lot. But maybe like the Terminator hand, the one that sits in the glass case, stuff like that.
You're not kidding, because I've got the plastic version of it in a plastic case, and yeah, man, that would be awesome. Like if I had space for it, then I would love to have a life-size R2D2 and C3PO. Absolutely pointless, you know what I mean? And it's not like I could take them with me anywhere like I can, like if I'm going to go see a friend and he would think that a DL-44 or something would be cool, then I can always take that with me. But, man, C3PO and R2D2, that's huge. But that's something since I was a kid, I always thought would be kind of cool to have. I don't know, man. That, and then more lightsabers. I still want to get Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber from the prequels. I thought that was really cool. Qui-Gon Jinn had a cool lightsaber. So anyway, one of these days I'll probably acquire them. But they won't be screen used by any means.
No, I mean screen used would be the ultimate. I think the only props I own an assault rifle from one of Neil's films, which I don't know whether it's a Time War or whether it's Rogue Warrior. Neil, let me know. And a piece of the time crystal, which I'm guessing is from the Time War. He gave me a little bit of crystal. Man. I don't know where it is though. I've got tubs of like stuff in the other room. It's in one of them, so I can't go. Here it is. Yeah. But he gave me a little piece of the time crystal, so it is safe. It's just with lots of other stuff that's also safe. But yeah, bullet casings I quite like.
Well, that, dude, I mean, it's, my mom is a collector of antiquities, and everything has a story. It's like, oh, that chair, that was, your great grandfather sat in that, and that table was used by, it's just, everything has meaning to her, but everything takes up so much space. And so when she showed me, like, here's the coin that your great grandfather had or whatever, I'm like, that's what I'd like to have, because then boom, it's in the drawer. I mean, it's not taking up space. But yeah, I do like the smaller things. Seemed like I was going somewhere else with the whole prop thing, and now I can't remember, probably because I'm distracted by my dog shredding the bunny further. Oh, I know I was going to ask. So the assault rifle that Neil gave you, it's like, there was one buddy of mine that came over for a podcast, and we each took a Lancer, and we were striking the Gears of War pose and all that. And that's totally acceptable in America. But if you were to stand there with that assault rifle and post it on your social media, would you be in trouble? Would the would the UK government come and ask you for that, as well as any knives you may have?
I think knives you're okay unless you start walking out, because everybody else knives in the house, because otherwise how do we cut steaks and stuff? I did feel nervous when I stood outside holding the assault rifle while Neil was going, here, the magazine's in here somewhere. I'm like, for the love of God, because it's like, maybe in the US you can get away with standing there, but here in the UK, if somebody sees you, SWAT team, bang, you're done. You're like, great, I got killed for a plastic rifle. So I was a little bit nervous, but I think if I did post something on social media, I would go, it's a prop. I have a black and white photo that somebody took for me, and I've got the gun down, and it looks like it's a movie still, and that is quite a cool shot. And every time I would put that out on social media, I would always have to put, it's not real, because it kind of looks like a real picture. I'm quite impressed with it, but I might cut it into this video at some point and put it there. But yeah, we don't tend to brag about having weapons over here.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, it's like my cousin who lives in Beverly Hills, and she's, being out in California, they don't believe in guns, period. I mean, not where she lives anyway. And I remember making a prop with Kate, and it was from Star Wars. I think it was Ray's gun or something. But anyway, and I showed, how we were putting it together, and then the final shots, and she had it, kind of Pulp Fiction, leaning back. And my cousin was aghast. She was like, "Is that a real gun?" And I was like, "No, it's not a real gun. I mean, we made it. Have you not been following what I've been posting? But some people are just, and I'm down with both sides, their views. It's whatever, but I mean, and certainly, if we've learned anything from the Rust, set, you have to respect every firearm, period.
Yeah.
But I mean, I grew up playing with guns, not the real ones, but the plastic ones, and firing caps, as I guess that's what they call them over there. Yeah. And so, and then I would go to the rifle range with my dad, so I was familiar with that, but that wasn't something I just carried around for kicks. It was, so.
It's kind of like with the whole gun control thing. It's one of those things where, yes, it would be better if nobody had guns. But I understand. But in a country where lots of people have guns, I understand why lots of other people feel safer with guns.
Yeah. Well, and it is a shame that we have to. It goes back to what Tony Stark said in the first Iron Man. Well, and I'm poor man's paraphrase here, but it's like, peace comes from having the biggest stick or something. You strike that fear, and but that doesn't necessarily inspire peace. It just says, wow, I'm not going to mess with you because, wow, you've got a bazooka. And, so,
I suppose it's like the nuclear deterrent thing, isn't it?
I guess. But
I have nuclear weapons. Right. I can attack you. Oh, you've got them as well? Well, if I attack you, you'll attack me. I'm not going to attack you because you've got nuclear weapons. And it's maybe guns is a similar thing to that.
Yeah. So while we're on this topic, I guess you saw the clip on some Russian news media or whatever, where the guy was like, "Oh yeah, we'll sink Britain," and I was just like, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
Now they had already talked about turning the United States to glass, more or less, but yeah, they were going to sink Britain, and I was just like, "Man, this is some intergalactic kind of,
I mean, I don't think they could sink Britain because it's not Venice, is it? It's not like built on a platform. I don't think that's how land works. You can't just sort of push. Right, you get one end of America, I'll get a push down, and it'll all flood. It doesn't. I don't think it works like that. But no, I hadn't actually seen that clip.
Yeah. But just know I was insulted for you. I was just like, don't mess with Britain. Come on now,
Now I know why I watch so many movies, because it's just like the real world can just go away really.
Oh yeah, man. So we saw The Abyss, and I had of course seen it numerous times, but I hadn't seen it in 4K. And I mean, like, everything held up. I mean, the water snake or whatever. I mean, like, you could tell it was done, what was it, 20 years ago or 30, whenever.
1989, John.
Yep.
1989.
So it's been a while, but I mean, they pushed the limits, and that was done in Shelby, North Carolina. And so, I mean, I was aware of it, but I mean, it was, when I heard about it, it was like, oh yeah, they're making this cool movie called The Abyss. Okay, whatever. Yeah, James Cameron's directing it. What? I mean, like, despite Terminator, it's still just, he wasn't a name that I, held in my head, because I sure would have tried to get on there, use every connection to get on that set and just see what was going on. But anyway, but it was good. And then the documentary that came with it was equally good, and just, it was almost like they were interviewing people along the way. And so you had people being, man, we're in the abyss, we're working with James Cameron, we're underwater 10 hours a day, 3 days a week. And then near the end of the documentary, it's like, yeah, I hate James Cameron, he's
Yeah.
a son of a bitch.
Is this, I mean,
I'm
if
gonna
it's the
need
same,
therapy.
if it's the same documentary that's on the DVD, it's called Under Pressure, and it's like an hour.
Yeah, that's it, man.
And
Yeah,
where
yeah.
they interview Ed Harris, he's like, yeah, I nearly died because they put the regulator in upside down. And he apparently refuses to talk about the abyss now, does Ed Harris. It's like, I love the abyss. I think it's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it was such a cool movie. Now, your thoughts about the special edition because I guess his character didn't go under the sea and see the aliens and all that stuff in the original cut of the movie.
Yeah. He so I saw the theatrical one first because I watched it on rental VHS when it came out, probably like 89 or 90 or whatever when it came out. And then there was always the rumors about the special editions and the director's cuts, and there was one for aliens, and the abyss one was like, we really want to see that because apparently there's like tidal waves and all this sort of stuff. That's all extra. So he goes down in the canyon in the theatrical, and he has like he ends up in the chamber where the water thing goes up and the aliens are like blah, 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 and they play the message back where he says he loves his wife. And he knows it's a one-way trip. And then the next thing, the spaceship, the ship comes up and he gets out and it's done. So it's all the tidal wave and the nuclear, we see what you're going to do to the planet stuff that's extra.
Gotcha. I was trying to remember because as soon as the special edition came out, I saw that. And I guess that was what imprinted deeper on me. But yeah, I mean, like, I get where some people feel like that was kind of jarring, kind of like, it's this cool, believable, whatever. And then suddenly it's Close Encounters of the Third Kind underwater. But I still enjoyed it. And Michelle did too. So, and it seems, I mean, I realized that was probably just a standard stereo mix versus, surround sound. But it just seems like Predator, The Abyss, all these old movies have a much better sound mix than the new stuff that tries to be so expansive. But you don't, it's like The Dogs. When we're watching movies where somebody will slam the door and it's off screen, then they start barking. They run up to the front door because they think somebody has come in. And they don't do that with the new, the new movies. So...
Put Saving Private Ryan on, they'd be like, I'm out of there, I'm gone. Bullet casings everywhere. But was it the 4K disc that you watched, The Abyss?
I was on Vudu. I think Jake got the 4K disc, and then Vudu, you punch in the code, and there it is. So yeah, we share a Vudu. Yeah.
Do you want to know what disc we cannot get in the UK? It would be The Abyss 4K. It is not getting a release over here.
Why?
Because, do you remember the scene with the rat when they put the rat in the liquid?
Oh, yeah.
That was censored here in the UK way back in the 80s. It was like...
I think that was a part of the documentary,
Yeah. And then, so when they were doing the 4K one, the BBFC, which is the certificate people over here, went back to Cameron and went, you need to cut that scene again. And he's like, nope. And they're like, look, if you don't cut it the way you did in the theatrical one, you're not released. We can't release it in the UK because it's against the animal cruelty things. And he's like, looks like UK aren't getting it then. So we can't, we have to import it if we want it. We can't get it. Wow. No release. Sucks.
Yeah.
Screw you, James Cameron.
It was truly liquid oxygen. Yeah. And the rat wasn't hurt. So,
But the argument is it didn't consent to being put under liquid.
How can they prove? No, I'm just messing.
Exactly.
I've got nothing.
It's crazy. Yeah. And they're like, you kind of got a point, but
handprint on the
possibly.
Thing. Yeah.
So yeah, we can't get it. We can't get The Abyss. So
wow, because it took Jake forever to be able to get it in the United States. And we've all been waiting on it. Let's face it. But I mean, I thought it held up nicely. And what else do we have to watch? We still have True Lies, and it seemed like there's another.
Aliens has come out.
Yeah, maybe. I guess it is Aliens, and that's a fun movie, man. I mean, despite Bill Paxton.
Yeah.
Game over, man.
How excited are you
Just
for
so over the
Alien
top, man.
Romulus? Alien Romulus. That looks pretty amazing.
I don't
No?
know that I've even seen the trailer. I mean, like I'll
Oh,
watch it because
watch
I
it.
like the franchise. And I mean, look, I like Prometheus. I mean, it's everything in that world. It just to me it makes there's a reality to it. And I think it's our future because governments will invest in something that will destroy humanity if it means having the bigger stick, and they don't care what it takes to get it. So yeah, I'll watch it, but I
It
don't know
does
that I've
look
seen the
good.
trailer for it.
Watch the
Yeah,
trailer, and then the bit that'll really excite is the bit I'm about to tell you. They've gone practical with pretty much everything,
really.
including the swarms of face huggers. They are practical, obviously with a little bit of CGI enhancement and wire removal and stuff, but they're all practical. It looks
Dude, that's awesome,
like it's
man.
harking back to Alien and Aliens. So
yeah, because what was the one that was it 3 or 4? Maybe it was 4, where they had what they referred to as the alien dogs, and they were all running and skittering and across the ceilings and
3.
stuff.
Yeah, Alien 3.
I mean, like, I guess it was cheaper to do it digitally, but I don't know, man. It took some of the fun out of it. When you see, you go back to the original Alien, and you see that, diluted KY dripping out of the thing's mouth, and and then the second set of jaws comes out. Just cool. Same thing in Aliens, where she's in that whatever that armor stuff is, the hauling apparatus, and the queen is right there trying to bite her in the face. So it just takes it up. It's kind of like when we still have Tom Cruise doing crazy stuff. He's the best example. So when we're watching Mission Impossible, we're blown away with the insanity that, I mean, like, who pays his insurance coverage? That's crazy. So
not me. I think Tom Cruise is obviously the number one doing this, but Keanu Reeves in the John Wick films, he's nipping at Tom's heels.
Yeah.
Similar age. And you're like, I'm exhausted by watching the John Wick films. You're like, fair play to you, Keanu, but I'm tired just watching you do it. And not bad tired, just the sheer, I need to sit down and cold drink sort of thing.
Right. Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah. And so while we're bringing up John Wick, The Continental, very good. And just 3 episodes, very much like Sherlock or something, where, you've got an entire season in 3 movie length episodes. But that was really good. And it's fun seeing where these different characters came from. And it still had that John Wick flavor, which I really enjoy.
And it's interesting if you go back to a John Wick film, having seen The Continental, and then you look at Winston, played by Ian McShane, and you go, I kind of know your backstory now, and it makes his character better.
Yeah, we'll have to do that because I forget, there was some conversation that Michelle and I had the other day where, like, John Wick's motive was not accurately represented in the trailer. I mean, it was just like, they killed his dog, they stole his car. No, man, that was not what. They killed his dog and stole his car, but there was a much deeper reason why he was moved to become, John Wick again. And very cool. But yeah, Michelle didn't remember all the nuances, so we'll probably watch that again. And she enjoyed every one of them. But when did John Wick come out? That was back
2012.
Wow,
the first one, I think.
Yeah, so it's been a while.
I may have a quick look when John Wick came out, just to. When did John Wick come out? 2014, sorry.
So that was the same year that Guardians of the Galaxy came out. Interesting.
Good year. But yeah, it's a good franchise to binge watch. Just go 1, 2, 3, 4. It does work because it is effectively one big story, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know what it's set over. I think it's set over like 3 days or 2 weeks or something. I think if you go online and have a look, it tells you it's a very short time period. So what else? What have you been watching? Anything exciting other than obviously Rebel Moon, of course?
Right. Let's see here. The Gentleman, Guy Ritchie's Netflix series.
I have not seen that. No.
I watched it because it looked cool, because it looked very Guy Ritchie-esque. And I liked it. I mean, Michelle fell asleep a couple of times, but I mean, Guy Ritchie having fun with a series instead of a movie. So that was good. A Gentleman in Moscow. That was really good.
Okay. Lots of film with gentlemen McGregor in it. Oh, yeah.
But that one, I mean, like, we saw the trailer, and I mean, look, it's got Ewan McGregor in there. I'm going to watch it. Same thing, and Michelle has that same philosophy. But it was much deeper, and it's about chosen family and how important that is, and looking after each other despite the circumstances, and making the best of where you are. So yeah, man, I mean, like, it was a lot deeper and bigger. Welcome to Wrexham is back. And so I think that's season 3. So anyway, but that's fun. Michelle makes fun of it because the coach, when he is pissed off at everybody and in the locker room, and literally there's an F-bomb every other word, and she is just like, wow, was that really necessary? Well, yeah, he's talking to a bunch of soccer players, talking to a bunch of footballers, come on. But let's see here. And we saw Unfrosted, the Pop-Tart movie. That's on Netflix.
That's how I haven't seen it, but it's like,
yeah.
Is it? I mean, how good can a film about making Pop-Tarts be?
It is a goofy comedy that makes fun of the whole process. And there's a lot of nods, like the ingredients that we accepted as kids. Not that you and I would have read a box, but I mean, our parents probably would have. And it's like, dilaxum sorbate. Well, whatever, man, and then you find out later on that'll help you grow like a third arm. So there's a lot of fun in there, man. It's just goofy. And the fact that it lasts literally an hour and 30 minutes, which includes a song and dance number at the very end, post credits. So
yeah. Okay.
But I mean, it's just fun, man. It's if you want to just shut your brain off and not think, it made me laugh. So yeah.
Bit of escapism.
Yeah. So what about you?
I watched this film that's been on my to watch list for like 30 years called Cinema Paradiso, which I know Jake's a big fan of.
Yeah.
Italian film set in Sicily, I believe. I had the Blu-ray, which has got the director's cut and the theatrical. I opted to watch a theatrical version because that's the one that came out first.
Is that the one that had butter controversy in it?
No, that's The Last Tango in Paris, which is Marlon Brando. Okay. Yeah, so that one. No, this is about a little kid in Italy who just falls in love with cinema and sort of hangs around a projection booth, and he becomes like just so obsessed with this movie theater called Cinema Paradiso. And it's a really sweet film. Subtitled, 2 hours long, 3 hours if you watch the director's cut. But it's been on my shelf for ages. I'm like, I need to get this watched. Just get it out of the way. And I really liked it. That was a really, really charming film. So I watched that. I've watched obviously Neil's films, Starship Rises, Starship Apocalypse. I really watched much else. I've got Ghostbusters Frozen Empire to watch pretty soon. I am very close to starting Yellowstone. I've never seen an episode of Yellowstone at all.
Oh, wow, man. Dude,
so I might jump into that.
Yeah, that's what I forget what Michelle and I were watching. Sorry, I'm making so much noise with this, propping my foot up on a stool that is definitely not level. But yeah, I mean, like, we were watching something that was amazing, and then we watched one episode of Yellowstone, which led us to the next and the next and the next, and 6 seasons later, whatever. Then we're like, man, what were we even watching? Let's go back. And it was something epic, but anyway, I mean, yeah, I thought it was good. It has intriguing characters, and I think the well-written stuff, there's a reason for the characters being like they are. It's just like we were talking about John Wick. You watch The Continental, you understand the backstory of these characters, and you understand more what's going on in their heads. And Yellowstone's well written. I'm sure it won plenty of awards and stuff. So
I'm preparing to watch
but
that.
You'll like it.
I'm also tempted to start the X-Files from the beginning and rewatch all the X-Files, because I have a big box set of seasons 1 to 9. I don't have the latest 2 seasons, but I can get those. And I don't know if I haven't seen them all, so I might restart watching that, I think.
Yeah. Well, you have to tell me how that process is, because I don't think I've ever seen them all. I mean, like, I would watch them randomly. I think the fact that you could, each episode was kind of a standalone. I mean, there was your undercurrent, what was it that, there is something out there or whatever. So, I mean, but it was just kind of fun. But my favorite episode was the one with the gin. And when Mulder said, well, one of my wishes is going to be peace on Earth. And then there was silence, and he was like, what's going on? He looks out, and there's nobody. And she said, that is the only way you're going to have peace on Earth, is if everybody's gone, which is kind of, I guess,
true. It's kind of true, really, isn't it? It is kind of true.
It really is.
Yeah. So, and I will knock off another one of these on my list as well. What is the best, and I can't come up with an answer for this one, what is the best Sylvester Stallone movie?
Man,
it's not an easy question, is it? You instantly go Rocky, but then you think Rambo, and you're like, oh, damn. But then Demolition Man. And it's just...
Dude, it's almost like, if you are a comic book fan, is it DC or Marvel? It depends on your mood. If you're kind of feeling you want something a little more gritty, then you go with DC. If you want something that's a little lighter fare, you go with Marvel. And I remember, I think the movie that impressed me the most, and I haven't seen it in probably 20 years, was Copland. Yeah. And because he purposely gained weight and got out of shape, his character had hearing issues, and and he was the sheriff or whatever. But I mean, like, there was the mob, and people telling him what to do. He felt powerless, but he was trying to be a hero. And so that one, I guess, a more obscure one, that would probably be my pick. I think, what was it? Rocky Balboa was probably my favorite Rocky movie, simply because, he so missed his wife, and it showed that every year he would go to where he met her and where they fall in love, and eventually wind up at, like the apartment that they had, and then wind up at her grave and, talk to her and whatever. And it was just so sweet. And that was one of the movies that really inspired me to keep looking for the woman who would affect me that way. And then I found Michelle again.
Yeah.
So,
good answer to that last part. You're like, I'm still looking. No, I'm not still looking.
No, man. Yeah. Well, it's like The Fountain. I mean, like, here is you've got Hugh Jackman trying desperately through past, present, and future to find a cure for his wife's cancer. And he's willing to do whatever it takes. And I was like, damn, man, that's some love. I like that. So
I need to revisit Rocky Balboa. I've only seen it a couple of times.
Yeah.
I couldn't decide between Rocky 4, which is just insane, and Rambo First Blood Part 2, which were both films I saw at a pivotal age in the cinema, and I'm like, wow, this is like the most visually epic live action things I've seen in years. So I always have a fondness for those two, but I can't pick between one or the other.
Me either. And then what was the TV show that he did
Tulsa King.
A year ago? Man.
Really good.
That he's still relevant. And same thing with Schwarzenegger, with Fubar. Funny stuff. Yeah. So it's cool seeing our heroes that we grew up with still being relevant, still having fun. And with the State Farm commercial that Schwarzenegger did, like a good neighbor. And man, that was hilarious, dude. He doesn't mind making fun of himself, which I think is quite endearing. So
whereas Stallone, not really a fan of making fun of himself. He's a very serious person, that guy. But Schwarzenegger does not care.
No, no. There was something else. What is he doing now? There's some other project that he's working on. But again, it's just like whatever, man. You're gonna, you're paying me. I'm having fun. I gotta, keep up my house with my donkey and my dog. So
exactly. Have you got any more notes on your mystery sheet of paper, or are you up to date?
That was it, man.
One note. That's not notes. That's one note.
Yeah. Like we covered everything else organically. Yeah, man. The gentleman in Moscow. You're right. There is a lot of gentlemanly stuff. Welcome to Wrexham, the Continental, the Abyss, Unfrosted, and it seems like I've sent you the coupon to experience, like, was it 5 days or 2 weeks of masterclass?
Yeah.
But I've gone back and and it's good stuff. I liked man. You should try to get them to sponsor your podcast and give it to you for free.
Have you got any favorites of masterclass? Because it's like I think I watched 3 in the time when I had the thing. I watched Bob Iger, which I thought was really good. I saw the Ron Howard one. Yeah. I watched the James Cameron one, which was really good. And I think I actually watched Anne Leibovitz as well, the photography one.
Yeah, I started watching that, and I haven't finished it. And that is intriguing, the photography one. I'm currently watching the James Cameron, which it's weird, man. I started it, and then I guess just something interrupted my life, probably work. And I'm back into watching it. And he just, I appreciate people that just get excited to share. I also like his terminology. It's like when he was talking about the reveal of the character Rose in Titanic, and he used the hat for a wipe. And I was like, I never would have called it that, but you are right. He likes these classic slow reveals, and and he talking about Terminator and Aliens and all that. And yeah, man, it was good. We've all heard, that he's tough to work with. We've all heard the stories about when he was younger, and his mom would send him a coupon and for McDonald's, and he would go get a Big Mac or whatever, and then divide it in half, and 1/2 per day, so but it's cool, these visionaries who and they fought against all odds to have their movies made. So kind of cool. But yeah, Ron Howard was a good one. And trying to think, oh my gosh, there's a bunch of writer ones, both screen and TV. Those were all good.
There's an Aaron Sorkin one that I would have watched. Yep. There's James Patterson, I think. Dan Brown, I think, did one. So it's like I didn't really delve into the writing one because writing isn't something I do novel wise. So I think when I jumped into it, it was like I want to watch the Bob Iger one because he ran Disney and now he's back again. So that was interesting. Ron Howard, I'm a fan of. James Cameron, clearly. So it's interesting. It's quite expensive, I think, is Masterclass, if I remember rightly enough. But if you use it fully, then there's some really good content on there.
Yeah.
So send me a free one, Masterclass.
Right. Definitely. This episode sponsored by Masterclass.
Yeah.
And then through Masterclass, you'll get sponsored by MasterCard, and then you'll have Samuel L. Jackson on as a guest.
By me.
Yeah, man. He can tell you about how much money you can save with the special Capital One card. That's right. He doesn't do MasterCard. Anyway,
I'm not really bothered about saving money because I don't have any to save.
Gotcha.
If you can tell me how to make some money, that would be amazing. So anybody watching this YouTube video, click on some other videos and just watch them all night while you're asleep. Boost my numbers up. I'm 1,100. I'm not even 1,100. I'm 1,050 hours off hitting monetization. Yeah. It's not easy hitting the 3,000 hours. That's just
wow.
Because it rolls. It's over a 365-day period.
Wow. So everything has to be public. It can't be unlisted, right? As far as your amount of content.
That's a good question, actually, on that one. I know it can't be private. But I don't know about the unlisted. I don't really have too much unlisted at the minute because I usually end up making it public anyway. But it's not easy hitting the old monetization thing.
Yeah, they do want you to jump over all sorts of hurdles because you're gonna get up there to the top and go, okay, where's my millions? And it's like, millions, dude. We're paying you, a lower single-digit percentage of what we're making off of your labor. So,
I mean, Neil's been putting his films on YouTube. Another shout out for Neil Johnson, and he's been sharing how much he makes per month or per week. And I look at it and go, I wish I was making, because I remember having the conversation with him going, if I had one of your films in like a week, I'd be monetized. This is so unfair. And I went, let's just take out of the equation the fact I haven't got like a $500,000 sci-fi movie. That's fine. If I did. So, people aren't really going to make a movie and then make a profit on YouTube. But if you've got the content there, put it on and you can do okay on it.
It's almost like gravy, I guess. And that was one of the things, I mean, the aspirations of young John, thinking that, YouTube may be a good avenue for the podcast and making lots of money and stuff, as well the podcast. I mean, like, Jake and I really thought that, after a few years of being so steady with it, that, we would have, money coming in, man. And it's tough.
I think it's possible. I think it's possible, but I think it needs to be more than just a show a week. I think, if you decided, right, from now till the end of the year, I'm going to put a show out every day, and you did it religiously, and each show was like 2 hours or multiple videos or something, I think it's possible, but it's not, this whole, your dad would not be impressed. He wouldn't be like, that's not a secure job.
That's right. Where's the stability in that, right?
No stability whatsoever.
Yeah. And really, you can't even bank on like something that Dexter, because we all had our methodology, but Dexter was like, okay, we're going to use this person in this movie because she's going to go huge, or he's going to go huge. And then when people are buying their big time Paramount movie, they will find ours and we'll make money too. And I mean, like, the number of people that really were starting to climb, man, looking really promising. And then they're just like, you know what? This isn't for me. I just want to go to Starbucks and work. This isn't for me, and we're just like, what? Either that, or they'd say, you know what? I think I like the theater better. It's like, how does that help us? We were very selfish minded. I mean, because we had invested, we were ready to get that payout.
I remember sort of hitting that when I started my customer service job like 7 years ago, whatever, going, I could show up, do my job. It's easy. I know what I'm doing. I get a paycheck. It's great. And that is good. But you do it for so long, you can feel your brain rotting. You go, I'm not learning anything. I get that I'm getting a paycheck, but on my days off, I'm just sleeping because I'm exhausted. It isn't fun. It doesn't make for an interesting biography chapter. For 6 years, I did this, and I use that as a lot of my life goals. I'm like, would I read a chapter about what I've done over the past however many years? No. And if it's yes, then I'm like, brilliant, I'm doing the right thing. It's probably not secure. It's not as secure, so your dad would not approve of me, but we live once and then we don't. So
Well, but I think in a way when some of the jobs that you and I have both done, and I'm sure Neil as well, and a good friend of mine that used to be upper echelon Disney, and then he decided he was going to go off and do his own thing, and it wasn't as profitable, and so now he has a job making boats. I mean, like, physically helping this dude who is and man, I mean, like, I would love to learn how to make boats, and I would apply it to making guitars. I mean, like, but would I want that to be my livelihood after I knew something completely different? Maybe not, but I think it shows our willingness to do whatever it takes, to pay the bills. I mean, so I mean, there is something to be said. I mean, like, when I went to Lowe's, I wasn't happy about it. I bitched and moaned about it, but and that would certainly not be the most exciting chapter in my book if it's ever published. But I mean, it was what it was. So,
Yeah.
and Michelle likes to bring up that our entertainment console, which was I think like 150, 160 retail, it was something that got left in the warehouse and there were no more in the store. They had sold out. And so about I don't know, 6 months later, I found it and I dusted it off and I went to one of the managers and I said, I'll give you $15 for it. And he said, done. Wrote a note on it.
Wow.
And so, yeah, man. So, I mean, Michelle likes to remind me that something good came out of me working for Lois. Yeah.
Yeah, of course it does. I just think in the long run, you go, I don't want to be one of those that works there till I retire or collapse.
Yeah.
It's like, no chance.
So, weird question, man. Would it benefit you in your YouTube channel if you were the host of one of the movies that I directed for a month? Would that help you?
Of course it would. Yeah, my subscribers are fine. I have 1114 and you need 1,000. I'm well over that. Man. It's the viewing hours that are. So I'm literally, you look at my YouTube thing, there's so much content on there, it's just crazy. I have the puppet. The puppet's done a couple of videos. They've not taken off. Obviously there's all the video podcasts, there's the chopped up segments. I'm even looking for, which I found a few copyright free movies, which I found a couple, and I'm recording nice new little intros for them and putting them on. So cool, any content that would help.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll see what I can do, and I'll send you, like I'll upload them to Dropbox and send you a link. So
brilliant.
And yeah, man, because I mean, I don't have time to try to curate anything for my YouTube, and there are certain things that are on there that due to copyright infringement, just with I mean, when you're young and you do something cool and you add music to it, and then it's like, oh yeah, you can't monetize this, so you can't monetize your whole channel. You know how it is.
Yeah.
It's like you have to abort half of your stuff, and then well, what am I left with, dude? Come on,
I scorched the earth on my original channel because I went to the monetization thing. I had over 2 million views, and I went, "Come on, YouTube, look at that, monetize." And they went, "No." And I'm like, "What do you mean, no?" And they went, "You got way too many trailers on there." I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm allowed to use them. They send them to me." They went, "It's not your stuff. Not your stuff. Can't do it."
Wow.
And they said, look, you got two choices. You either never get monetized, or you get rid of all your trailers. So I thought, right, get rid of all the trailers. And then I did. And then my viewing numbers went from like 1.7 million to about 120,000. So I'm like, what have I done? What have I done? I didn't lose any subscribers though, so that was good. Nobody jumped ship. So I then set another YouTube channel up just for trailers, which because I use them in for publicity purposes and stuff, but I'm never going to bother monetizing that channel.
Right.
But it's my main one that now is trying to get the viewing numbers up, because my viewing numbers were about 3,400 when I went for monetization.
Yeah.
And then when I obliterated all the trailers, I'm like, hey, the numbers haven't changed. And then 4 days later, they went from like 3,400 to something like 1,100. So I'm like, it's going to take me absolutely ages to get back up, but I'm getting there slowly.
So this was just like in a Rambo movie where they're flying and then they take a bullet to the gas tank, the fuel tank, and it just goes, and then the plane's going down, right?
Yep. Yeah, it just crashed and burned. So I'm like, no. Yeah. And then at that time, I wasn't doing too many of these video podcasts. So I enjoy doing these now, but that was something out of my comfort zone. But the world of YouTube.
Yep. So we should talk about the latest Ghostbuster when you and I both watch it, because that's on my list too. It's in queue. So
So next time we resume, we will chat a little bit about Ghostbusters. So I'm looking forward to it.
Sounds good, man.
Looks
I'm
good.
sure Welcome to Wrexham. Maybe, you could always, get Mr. Deadpool on, So.
Yeah, of course. He's always begging me to come on. I'm like, look, Ryan, I'm just too busy. I'm too busy with a puppet video or showing off my DVD box sets or whatever on YouTube. But one day I might let him on one day.
Well, he's Canadian, so he can't say no, correct?
True. What are you up to for the rest of the day? What have you got? Anything exciting planned? Or
I have like right up to where I thought I would still be on time. I had set up these different TV episodes that I'm editing for a client, and I had all of them ready to send over to Media Encoder to export. So that's probably my next thing. And then I've got 3 Deckard blasters from the original Blade Runner that I'm putting together. And so I painted one, all these different parts and stuff, and I've just got to assemble it. And the triggers are just being a pain in the ass. So I may be able to finish that up as well. And then dinner, and then just kind of hanging out, with Michelle. And then we are taking off for the Outer Banks, doing a little mini vacation. And so that'll be fun. I had no idea. 10 years of marriage, and she had never told me that she liked air shows. It's like seeing the old B-52 bombers.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, well, if I had known, then we would have been going annually. So anyway, we found one and made this plan months ago. So we're looking forward to going and taking pictures and all that, and experiencing, because there have been sets that I've been on where they had these old planes and stuff, and if I had known that she, and I'd send her pictures, and she never once said, I wish I was there. And because she's just so low maintenance, man. But anyway, so yeah, definitely, as much as she encourages me to go all these places and she goes with me, I'm glad to go and see these old planes and stuff. So that should be a fun weekend at the beach. So.
On my YouTube channel, which is not me pimping it out, but there's like an hour and something video that I shot at an air show, and it was I shot it in 2005, but it's the most fun thing I've ever done, because trying to follow planes with a camera is like that really tests your skills, and it's all Lancaster bombers, Spitfires, jet fighters, acrobat teams, parachutists. It was one of the most fun filming experiences I had. That was at an RAF base, and I love air shows. I get that.
Really? Wow, man. Well, one of these days, when you and Annette make it over stateside, or when Michelle and I finally make it over to England, we'll have to incorporate that in, man. That'd be fun.
So tomorrow, Annette and I are going to a place called Skipton Castle, which is a castle that's hundreds and hundreds of years old. So we're just going to go wander around that. I'm taking the big beast of a camera just to film some stuff. And
dude, that's cool. Yeah, so man.
That's our day. We'll just get out and go do some stuff. So.
Well, that's awesome, man.
Cool. Right. Yeah. Well, thank you for indulging me in all these random little things, as well as encompassing it into a full-length conversation as well.
Oh yeah, dude. It's always a pleasure visiting. And I think people think somewhere along the way that you and I have actually met, which we have not, and that so anyway, it's always a pleasure, man. So I look forward to the next time, and hopefully I'll have had more time to watch more TV and movies, and I'll see what I can round up for your YouTube channel. You can just be the host of some Foutz Studio stuff.
I will be the curator of the Foutz theatrical whatever it is. I'll name it. I'll come up with a name.
Okay, sounds good, man.
Well, you enjoy the rest of your day, John.
All right, dude. You too, man. I know you don't have as many hours to enjoy it as me, so.
It's 11:15 at night.
Yeah, there you go, man.
It's dark.
I appreciate you hanging out, man.
Anytime. Take care.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Bye.